Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle, and this is my Sun into Scorpio report for 2016. The Sun is moving into the fixed water sign of Scorpio, a sign known for its passion and intensity, and it is making some nice connections with Mercury. And we got a lot of other action happening in Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Mars making its way to Aquarius. So I'm going to talk about those things. Here are the start times for each section of the video so you can get right to what you want. But welcome back if you are a regular subscriber, and welcome if you are new. I report when the Sun changes signs, and I talk about the overall trends that will be impacting all of us. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so let's look at some charts. That way we look at where we are when the cycle starts. We start to see like where we're going, and I also get to point out some of the interesting changes. So biggest trend, two big trends that I see this time. One, it's personal. The movement that's happening is amongst the personal planets. So we've got Mercury in 3 signs, really up to its usual speed, and some would say tricks, but I would just say its usual, busy Mercury, Speedy Mercury moving through Libra, Scorpio, and into Sag during this cycle. We have Venus that just got into Sag. It will be moving into Capricorn this cycle. And interestingly enough, like I said, Mars moving out of industrious Capricorn on the 8th into Aquarius. And we'll talk about that cycle in a second. But let's look at just some of the charts for each of those things, because that brings me to trend number 2. And so here's a chart for when the Sun first gets into Scorpio. You see it there at 0 degrees, and I got a little crazy with the colors this time. Decorating for the autumn. But what I was also trying to point out is that in the other charts, if you've watched my videos, we had nothing but a mutable story going on for a long time until last cycle, when the Sun, of course, went through the cardinal sign of Libra. And of course, Jupiter just made that move into Libra, where it will be for another year. So we finally started to get out of just mutable crosses and squares and oppositions. And what I want you to see about this is we have this smattering of planets across the whole autumn horizon and the winter horizon. So if you look at the chart, we have everything going from Libra, Scorpio, Sag on into Cap, or of course, we have Pluto there, but with Mars there, that adds something to it. And like I said, later on, Mars will move on into Aquarius. And of course, we have the South Node in Neptune holding the energy in Pisces. So what that means in our evolutionary terms is that we have an energy consistently kind of, the first 6 signs are about our growth and individuality, and then we start to integrate into the world with others. Once we cross the line into Libra, it's about it's about partnership, it's about relationships. Scorpio, it's about intimacy with others. Sag, it's our philosophy, our belief system, where we've taken all the Gemini, the opposite sign, information that Gemini is just very curious about, and we integrate it into a belief system. We get down to Cap, where we want to be industrious, and it's our recognition in the world, what we accomplish. And Aquarius, groups, communities, associated with humanitarian endeavors. And then Pisces, where we put it all together. So I want you to notice throughout these charts, I'll move kind of quickly. So that was the Sun moving into Scorpio. 2 days later, Mercury joins the Sun and gets into Scorpio. Now pay attention to that, because those two are really, other than a new moon, we'll show you that chart next, at the end of the month, right before Samhain. That's the strongest bunch of planets in Scorpio we're going to get this time. So just those 3. I have a theory behind that I'll get back to in a second, but I want to move through the charts because you know me, I start talking. And so then we get on to election day night, that's when Mars makes this bold move on into Aquarius. Really interesting signature. And then when we're seeing Mars, of course, it has to leave Capricorn to go on into Aquarius. Just a couple days later, Venus replaces it. Venus leaves Sag and is going to keep that industrious energy moving and keep stoking that Plutonian, fire. It's like, adding something to a nuclear reactor, if you ask me. And let me show you this chart. We'll have Mercury then moving on into Sagittarius. I told you it gets through 3 signs this time. And the final chart I'm going to show you here is this full moon. So what I like is how these planets finally this year, instead of just mutable, we have planets in the cardinals. We have a nice combination with Jupiter remaining back there in Libra the whole time, and Pluto obviously remaining in Capricorn, but first, Mars carrying its energy, and then Venus, keeping that energy going. We're just going to keep having a cardinal effect, and of course, let me not leave out Uranus in Aries. So there's just going to be this, like, let's move forward. Let's make some progress. Let's feel inspired. Let's keep charging and keep moving ahead kind of energy. Scorpio, of course, brings the fixed element in, and when Mars goes into Aquarius, it brings more fixed, which we've just had so little of that this year, this idea of stability, because the emphasis had been on, and you can check out my earlier videos, particularly Sun into Gemini and Sun into Virgo, where I just, laid it all out, and probably Sun into Pisces as well. Just such a mutable emphasis on change, release, detoxify, and it's been rough. So this fixed Scorpio thing, even though that's a different kind of purification, that theory that I wanted to get back to you on is this, as far as the way that I see it, is Scorpio does represent purification, but because we've sort of been going through the wash cycle, like, really since the end of last year, when Saturn got into Sagittarius, I feel like all those pieces of what we needed to let go, what we needed to change, what was not going to work out, have constantly been made clear to us. So we should feel pretty clear about now. Now what I like, that new moon chart for the end of October the 30th, where we had that nice little alignment of Mercury, what we really think, the sun, and the new moon. Wonderful time. You guys know I love the new moons for rituals, and what they allow us to do is tap into the energy of the sign that they're in on just a deeper level, and to set some intentions that are in alignment with the qualities of that sign. Now, of course, we still have mutable action. I mean, the nodes, you see the North Node staying back there in Virgo, and of course, opposite the South Node there, Pisces, end of things, next to Neptune. Saturn, of course, isn't going anywhere. It's in Sag for another year. And, again, a lot of this cycle is going to have Venus in Sag. But when you look at any of these charts, what I see, of course, different people pick up on different things, but I just see finally a lot of balance, and not just something that's so pushing one thing, or, that feels so strenuous in one way. We've got our cardinals, we've got our fixed, we've got our mutable, and they're all kind of moving around. So what I'm going to do next, I do want to give Scorpio itself its due, and the Scorpios who are watching. So I'm going to talk about Scorpio next, and then I'm just going to pick a couple of these personal planet transits and give you guys a little bit of my interpretation of that, okay? All right, so I don't need charts for this part. So when we talk about Scorpio, we are talking about a sign that is all about transformation. It is a water sign. It will be making nice connections with Neptune over there in Pisces, and that little bit when the moon rolls through Cancer and when the moon rolls through Pisces, But of course, the Pisces thing's connected with the mutable, so let me stay on Scorpio. So Scorpio is known for its emotional intensity. Some people are even, scared of Scorpions because of, how passionate they really, really are. And anybody who watches me knows I'm all about being very honest about our emotions and letting them and the truth of them guide us. And with this nice combination that'll be here at least for a few weeks through this cycle of Mercury and the Sun, and again, especially around that new moon, we're being honest with ourselves and with others, and hopefully doing that in a constructive and thoughtful way. I just think it's great for setting intentions, because as we move through this autumn into winter completion, 7 through 12 houses, of course, then the planets are going to move on to the spring and what we want next. And I always find Scorpio, when we go inwards, and particularly connected with Samhain, the midway point between the equinox and the winter solstice, we reflect. It's a yin sign, Scorpio. So we do this internal sort of housekeeping, and we say, what's really important? What do I really want in the new year, 2017? Hard to believe, but hey, we're Scorpio means we are smack dab in the middle of Q4, end of the year, last quarter of the year. So this could be looking at your business and saying, what things do I want in the next year, and setting that intention. Your relationships, of course, looking at those and what are your aspirations. And again, I'd go back to this Jupiter piece that's in here, giving us a whole year, encouraging us to mix, mingle, meet new people. And Mars may help that as well, because it's going to be making a nice trine once it gets into Aquarius. That's another air sign, communicating, meeting other people, expressing ideas. And of course, Aquarius is another sign associated with groups and communities. So you'll be getting that push, but it doesn't mean anything unless it really resonates for you on a very powerful, personal, emotional level. So that's where I would encourage taking some time at the end of the month. Now, whether you set your intention at dark moon, new moon, or you wait for Samhain, that's just a really powerful window to set up what you want to come in, and maybe what needs to be sacrificed, releasing old habits, those kinds of things. And again, I don't think there's a ton of housework. I look at it as like, if you have your car serviced regularly, you should be good. You know what I mean? Or if your house, if you're lucky enough to afford some help regularly cleaning up your house, then it's like not a big mess. Now, if you've been ignoring all the mutable, yes, Scorpio is probably, gonna do some work. And I have a hard time believing with Saturn and Sag that we're really able to dodge the whole energy of the mutable thing. So, Scorpio is about honesty, it's about passion, and it's about transformation. And even though it's just going to be down to the Sun and Mercury for most of this cycle, they're making nice aspects. They play nicely with Pluto and Mars while it's in Capricorn, and then Venus. That's a nice sextile. And of course, Pluto rules Scorpio, so we have a nice sort of imperative or push to dig in, say, what do I really want, or what do I want moving forward, and to be very authentic and really embrace these energies. Now, in terms of the transits that I like in here, let's pick up on, again, the Capricorn theme, because again, we have Mars there till November 8th, 9th, depending on your time zone. And that went in there September 28th. And I was just getting so many calls from people saying, I feel the lift. I feel it. I can tell like something's shifting. Finally, the cardinal stuff started to come online like I said it would. and reinvigorate us. But that Mars thing in industrious Capricorn, I cannot emphasize what a good aspect this is for production. And Capricorn, well, that's some ambition. So I really like the idea of you guys using this energy first with Mars all the way through November 8th, and then the 11th, 12th, when Venus moves in there to kind of carry the torch. They're making connections with Pluto, so it's really powerful, and it works very nicely with this aspect, with the Scorpio energies and the Plutonian nice angles. This is, I forgot to mention this earlier, it's not a personal planet, it's actually Neptune going direct at the end of this cycle. This is an important one. Neptune, again, one of the outer planets, big influence, even if we can't see it. And it's in Pisces. Neptune's kind of foggy. Pisces can be considered kind of spacey, and boy, backwards, wow. Trying to find your way through that is definitely a little challenging, but what's nice about this cycle is at the end of it, Neptune stations, goes direct. So again, as we head on into Sag, the last cycle of the autumn of 2016, I knew the momentum would be picking up once we hit the autumn. But once we get into there, again, anything else that's been confusing you or been in that, am I doing this, am I doing that pile, more clarity starts to come through. So those are some of the aspects. Let's just get to the wrap-up part. All right, so I'm Elizabeth from Elizabeth's Oracle. Thank you so much for watching the video. I have a free monthly newsletter that you can sign up for at my site, elizabethsoracle.com. I do a radio show with my friend Kristy on Blog Talk, and you can listen anytime. The link is here in the description box. I also invite you to get over to Kristy's site. She also gives readings. I give readings as well. And I have a big announcement on here. I finally got an 800 number at 844 Oracle 1. So that's 844 Oracle 1. I do have regular hours, so there'll be a time, when I turn off the phone for the day. But if you want to get in touch for a reading, and my goodness, if anybody has tried to get in touch, I did find a bunch of messages that were in the contact form that their servers, like the people who run that, were like, oh, oopsie, we just had 50 messages that we never forwarded to you. So we'll try a more direct communication. Mercury is direct. We don't have a retrograde in sight right now, and so I'm going to take advantage of that. So feel free to call. And of course, here's the YouTube special, 5 free minutes with your first reading. And so I think that's covering everything, you guys. Really nice cycle. I just love the balance. I love that we have a little bit of everything going on here, and I like that we're reaching this place of, integration of, everything we've been through up to this year. And now I feel like it moves much more quickly. We put a lot of the turbulence behind us, and we can really start looking at 2017 and getting some excitement about that, and what we're going to be doing coming into there. So I hope you are having, things are getting easier for you and a little lighter. And I thank you so much for watching. Wish you just blessings and love, and we're going to see you when the sun comes into the sign of the unicorns.